You've bought your tickets, you've booked your hotel, you've done your research. You are officially ready to go to Disney World. Or are you? Dun dun dun. Hey everybody, it's AJ for Disney Food Blog. Here at DFB, we're in the Disney World Parks and Resorts nonstop, like every day, 7 days a week, 52 weeks a year. So when it comes to a detailed knowledge of Disney World, we got that wrapped up, mostly due to learning from our own mistakes. Now, today we've got lots of pro tips for you that we've realized most people who stay at Disney World, even if they've been there many times before, don't necessarily realize. And some of these are even things we've had to research several times because they keep changing. So buckle up for a bunch of tips. We're going to start with hotel tips. Staying at a non-Disney owned hotel is a more attractive option than ever before right now. They are on average much cheaper. Many Disney hotel guest perks like extra magic hours, early access to FastPass Plus bookings, purchase delivery to your hotel, free magic bands, and more have been discontinued temporarily or permanently, so they're not as much of a big draw to pay those huge bucks kind of associated with Disney hotels. Now, here's a very, very clear example of something that absolutely shocked me when I was researching for an upcoming Disney trip. You can get more space and more luxury by booking off-site for the same money. Now, I know you're saying, AJ, we always knew that. True. Okay. But here's the example that I wanted to share with you that was really surprising to me because I always knew that too, but I did not realize it was to this extent. Okay. So I was looking at getting a suite at a hotel near Disney World because I've got multiple family members coming and we want to all stay together. So of course I went right over to Art of Animation Family Suites, right? Because that's great. You've got the Skyliner right there and they're really, really fun themed rooms and it's great. I've stayed there before. It's good. So right now an Art of Animation Family Suite in Disney World for July 18th costs between $500 and $547 per night with no discount. And that's pretty expensive, right? $500 to $547. That's about how much you're going to pay for a room at the Grand Floridian Resort, a basic room. But you get 565 square feet at Art of Animation versus, the 300 plus square feet that you would get at a deluxe resort single room. Now, okay, put that in your brain. Art of Animation Family Suite, Nemo Suite, $547, 565 square feet. All right. Next, on a lark, I went over to look at the Waldorf Astoria, which is a Hilton-owned hotel, which is right in the middle of Disney World property. It offers free transportation to the parks, lots of restaurants in the hotel compared to Art of Animation, which only has the one food court. And it's very luxurious. I've stayed at the Waldorf Astoria before. It's a very luxurious hotel. You're not going to find that kind of luxury even in a Disney World Deluxe resort, much less a value resort. So I thought, hey, let's look at a suite at the Waldorf and see what happens there, right? Well, a 945 square foot suite, so that's almost double what you're going to get at Art of Animation's Family Suite, is $475 a night on July 18th versus the $547. So it's $70 cheaper and like 400 square feet larger than the Art of Animation Family Suite. And then I was like, well, let's do a little more research. A 1,400 square foot suite at the Waldorf Astoria with a king bed. It's a luxury corner suite, pull-out sofa. This one costs $567 on July 18th. 1,400 square feet. That's almost 3 times the size of the Art of Animation Family Suite. $567 versus $547, $20 more for 1,400 square feet. That's the size of some houses. So anyway, that was really shocking to me. I could get 1,400 square feet at the Waldorf Astoria, super luxury resort, for $567 a night versus, anyway, you already got it. I said all the numbers. It was eye-opening. So that's definitely something to think about. With all of those kind of Disney hotel perks being temporarily discontinued or even permanently discontinued, it may make sense to go check out some of these luxury hotels on Disney property and see what you can get for the same amount of money as you would pay if you were staying at an Art of Animation Family Suite or even at a moderate resort at Disney World. Okay, harped on that for too long. Let's move on. The Disney Springs area resorts are another great option. They're much lower cost than Disney-owned hotels. hotels. They're still good neighbor hotels, which means they're offering whatever those Disney perks are that you can still get. And they are right there on property, right next to Disney Springs. So those are good ones as well. And finally, the Swan and Dolphin resorts. Those are a no-brainer for me. Deluxe amenities, walking distance to 2 parks, cheaper than Disney-owned resorts, especially deluxe resorts, which is what they are compatible with. And there's plenty of pools and restaurants. And I actually personally am choosing to stay at the Swan and Dolphin when I take my family to Disney World in June, because I can walk to 2 parks, and I know that transportation has been real slow in Disney World. I don't want to deal with having to take transportation if I don't have to. And I know that the Swan and Dolphin has like at least 3 restaurants that I absolutely love, that my husband loves. So we are super excited to stay there. So that's the one that we chose. Definitely do your research. Don't just assume that you have to stay in a Disney-owned hotel. There are lots of hotels on property that are not Disney-owned that are within walking distance to parks that you can stay at for less money. And maybe that's the theming isn't there as much as those other hotels, but they are still really, really good deals and things to look into. Okay, next tip. You can request a late checkout at a Disney World hotel, but it is super weird. Now, I want to tell you about this because I always have to request late checkouts because I never am on time for anything. You guys know that. So here's why it's weird. You're going to need to call the day before you check out and tell them what time you'd like to check out, usually 12 p.m. or 1 p.m. because regular checkout for a Disney hotel is 11. So you can really only get 1 or 2 hours out of a late checkout. And then they'll put you on hold while they ask housekeeping. Then they'll come back. Sometimes it's a yes, sometimes it's a no, but it's always very mysterious. And if they don't have a late checkout for the time you requested, but they do have a late checkout for a different time, they won't tell you. And they say you can only ask once. So it's real weird. And if you've had a different experience from me, let me know, because I call for a late checkout just about every time I stay at a Disney hotel. And it's been real weird every time. So let me know in the comments what you've experienced. But may the odds be ever in your favor on the whole late checkout thing. You got to choose the right time because you can only ask once, apparently. Okay, now let's talk about ordering things to be delivered to your hotel. A lot of people don't realize that you can do this. A lot of people don't realize this will save a lot of space in your luggage, especially if you're bringing tons of diapers or formula and things like that. But you can actually have things delivered to your hotel through Amazon grocery delivery services. I've ordered things just from regular, shipping websites, and also you can order from Disney Floral and Gifts. Even former Disney cast members have created new businesses and offer really, really fun, unique items that you can order to your hotel. Now, let's go through some of the details because this is one of those things that you have to get it right the first time. It's the worst thing in the world to get to Disney World and expect everything to be delivered and in place, and you need that diaper and it's 11 o'clock at night and you didn't write the address correctly, or they're holding it in the convention center and not at the front desk, or whatever. There's a lot of things that can go wrong with this that can really take up a lot of time on your trip. So I'm going to detail how you're going to do it. This is one of the things you want to pay attention to. Okay, if you send a package to yourself at the hotel, we're going to talk about that before we talk about grocery delivery. So a package shipped from home or an online retailer will be accepted by the front desk. They'll keep your groceries or packages stored refrigerated or frozen if needed until you can pick them up from the front. Or you can have them delivered to your room for a handling fee of $6 per package. So if you get yourself like 50 little tiny packages, it's going to be $6 per package if they are delivered from an online retailer or something like that. Now, you can pick them all up yourself from the front desk for free, so you'll have to make the decision of how you want to handle that. First of all, don't ship anything that will get there more than a week before you arrive. Anything within a week of your check-in date is fine. Use the official shipping address listed for your Disney World hotel. This can be found on the Disney World website. Simply search for your resort hotel, and on the main page for each hotel on the right-hand side, you'll see the mailing address for the resort. When you address your package, include the word guest with the arrival date and the name of the person under whose name the room is registered, written clearly on the package, preferably on the line below the hotel name. So Disney's Art of Animation Resort, next line, guest, and then the name of the person under whom the room is registered. Follow these simple instructions and your package should get to Disney World without any trouble. You can pick up your packages at the front desk 24 hours a day in theory. In practice, The number of cast members on duty in the middle of the night is real thin, so you might want to prioritize getting your package during the daytime hours if possible. I personally have had trouble picking up packages in the middle of the night. Now, once you arrive and check in, ask the cast member at guest relations in your hotel if there are any packages waiting for you. Often these will be noted on your file prior to arrival. Okay, let's move on to grocery delivery next. Okay, this is different from package delivery. First, you're going to find a reputable service provider. I personally have used Instacart. I've used Shipt, which works with Target to deliver groceries. I've used Garden Grocer. Oh, I've also used Amazon Fresh to deliver. Now, these are all going to charge you a fee. You have to sign up for all of them. So you can look into which one is going to work best for you. I recommend using them at home before you use them at Disney World, just to make sure you kind of know how to use them and you know how it goes. Now, Garden Grocer is another popular but pricier option. They have a good relationship with Disney World. Many folks have used them for many years, but they set their own stock and prices, so you may pay a bit more here. And Garden Grocer charges $14 per order, or the delivery is free if your order is over $200. Now, many other delivery options exist. Do your research before you go and see what's going to work best for you. The good news with grocery delivery at Disney hotels is no matter how many boxes or bags your items arrive in, your Disney World hotel will only charge you a flat rate fee of $6 to deliver your groceries. Now, it's not $6 per item like it is with packages. And here's where we love Disney World hotels even more. If you have perishables in your bags, each of the hotel's Bell services has a refrigerator and a freezer to keep your items nice and cold. That means when your groceries get dropped off, cast members will take care of items that obviously need to be refrigerated or frozen until you can get those groceries. And of course, if you order cigarettes or alcohol, Disney will need to see ID before handing those over. Now, if you do order from a grocery delivery service like Instacart or Shipt, where you actually can communicate with your shopper or the person who's dropping off your stuff, it may help to get in contact with them and let them know, hey, I'm staying at this hotel in Disney World. They're local, they'll know where you are, and it won't be quite so confusing for them. Okay, so there's package and grocery delivery. Everybody got it? Everybody write it down? Super duper. It can get real confusing, but it can also save you a ton of money if you have that stuff delivered to your hotel. And it can also save you a ton of packing space, like I said, with things like diapers and formula and stuff like that. Just have those delivered to your hotel instead of trying to pack them in your suitcase. Oh my goodness. Anybody who's been to Disney World for a week with a toddler knows that you basically have to take an entire suitcase full of diapers. So it makes a lot more sense to have them shipped. And if you try to buy them in the gift shop, that's going to cost you $1 gazillion because, of course, they mark those up significantly. Okay, more hotel tips. There are extra special hotel rooms in Disney World that you might want to consider booking. Not all rooms are created equally. If you want to pack a bunch of people into your hotel room in Disney World, consider booking the Treehouse Villas at Saratoga Springs. These are huge, very cool, kind of circular suites, multiple rooms, full kitchen. So those are fun ones to book. That's a Disney Vacation Club room, but you can book it as well. More on that later. There are pirate-themed rooms at Caribbean Beach Resort. So if you're interested in a pirate-themed room, or if you have pirates in your family, then this might be the right stay for you. If you have princesses or princes in your family, the royal guest rooms at Port Orleans Riverside might be a good choice for you. These are, of course, currently closed. That hotel is currently closed, but when it reopens, those royal guest rooms will be waiting for you. And then another cool place to book, the cabins at Fort Wilderness. If you love camping, if your family loves camping, but you still want to sleep in a real bed, the cabins at Fort Wilderness are a really well-priced option. They're usually in the 300s per night, but you have a lot of space. You have a kitchen, you have a Murphy bed, you have 2 bunk beds, you've got a queen-size bed, so there's lots of space for lots of people to sleep. So that's a great alternative. We were talking about the Art of Animation family suites, right? The Wilderness Lodge cabins are a great alternative to that, where you can fit even more people sleeping in there. Plus, you're out in the woods and it's really calm and relaxing, and it's a great retreat from the parks each day. Okay, so let's talk about that Disney Vacation Club thing I just mentioned. Disney Vacation Club is Disney's timeshare program, and there are lots of rooms at Disney World and Disneyland that are Disney Vacation Club rooms. Now, you don't have to be a Disney Vacation Club member to book those rooms. Non-DVC members can stay at DVC hotels, and you can either book there directly. It's going to cost a little bit more than it costs to stay in other hotels, or you can rent points. Now, the good thing about DVC rooms is that most of them include kitchens or kitchenettes. Most have laundry facilities, and that can save you a lot of time and money and make up for the extra costs. It's kind of like having a condo instead of just a hotel room, and they have a lot more room as well. Now, if you're not a Disney Vacation Club member, you might be able to save money on a DVC room by renting points. Now, points are the currency that DVC members use to book their rooms. If they don't use all their points within a certain time frame, they lose them. So sometimes they put them up for rent so that they can get a return on those points instead of losing them. Non-DVC member guests can rent those points and can save some money, but it can be dicey since you're basically checking into a hotel room and trusting that this stranger has booked it and paid for it for you already. So we suggest using a DVC point rental agency. We love David's DVC rental to rent points. They serve as an intermediary between you and the DVC owner, which greatly alleviates the liability and trust issues of sending a stranger a bunch of money and crossing your fingers that they're actually going to book that hotel for you. I've rented points years and years and years and years and years ago just through some guy I found on the internet, and it worked out fine, luckily, but it doesn't always. And so having an intermediary, having someone who can basically confirm for you that the hotel's been booked, they can confirm for the person who's renting the points that you have paid the money. It's a great sort of escrow situation that keeps everybody safe when they're making that transaction. Okay, you can see in this video, I'm going into a lot of detail and some things we talk about once in a while on the channel, but I think these tips are really, really important, especially since these are things a lot of people don't even learn about until they've been to Disney World many, many, many years. And these are all things I would have wanted to know about before I went to Disney World the first time. So hopefully it's helpful. Okay, moving on. Most Disney hotels don't have smart TVs. This is something I just thought about telling you about when I was recently staying at a condo in South Carolina. They had a smart TV, which was super helpful because I could just bring up a movie on Netflix for my kids, and that was no problem. But they didn't have Disney Plus on their smart TV, which was kind of a bummer because my kids wanted to watch, a movie that was on Disney Plus. So most Disney hotels don't have smart TVs, which means they're not going to be equipped with those streaming services. So if you want to watch those, bring cables to hook up your phone or computer to the television so that you can use that to sort of, entertain your kids sometimes or entertain yourself. If you're done with the parks, you just need to chill. That's going to be the best way to get those streaming services available. Okay, now let's talk about renting stuff in your room. If you're visiting with kids, there is a whole world of kids stuff rental companies. I did not know this until I started researching it when I had a baby. From humidifiers to cribs to high chairs and strollers, you can pretty much rent anything you might need while you're on vacation for your baby or toddler. So that's definitely something to look into so you don't have to haul all that stuff, because I know what a nightmare it can be to have to haul all that stuff with you on vacation. And speaking of stroller rental, you have lots of options in Disney World, but they've recently changed significantly. You can rent a stroller from Disney in the parks each day, those hard plastic strollers. And don't forget, if you go to a different park after paying for a stroller in one park, you can show your receipt at the next place and get a stroller there for no charge. So if you pay in Magic Kingdom for a stroller, then you hop to Epcot, just show them your receipt. You don't have to pay for a stroller a second time that day. And that's the same, by the way, with lockers and ECVs, which is very, very important to know. Second option, you can rent a stroller from a Disney partner stroller rental company, and they can drop your stroller off at your hotel. This can be better than renting in the park because when you have littles and they fall asleep, you can just stroll them out of the park and not have to pull them out of the stroller to return it, because you can't take a Disney stroller out of the park. But if you rent a stroller for your whole stay from a third-party company, you just take it with you. And finally, you can rent a stroller from a non-Disney partner stroller rental company. This means they won't be able to deliver to your hotel as easily, but there are many very reputable stroller companies in Orlando from which to rent, so don't necessarily count them out just because they're not Disney partner stroller rental companies. Okay, next thing to know about Disney hotels, if you're staying there, a lot of people don't know. Different views cost different rates at the hotels. If you want to stay at a deluxe resort, but you don't think it's in your budget, look at the lower cost rooms in that hotel. For example, the Garden Wing rooms at the Contemporary are less expensive than the rooms in the big A-frame tower. They're the same rooms, they're just not in the A-frame tower. And Standard View rooms are about $100 less expensive than Savannah View rooms at Animal Kingdom Lodge. So if you want to stay at AKL, but you don't want to pay the big bucks for the Savannah View room, you can save $100 a night by staying at a Standard View room. So those are all things to look into. If you want to say upgrade to a moderate resort from a value resort, just look at the less expensive room views. And last thing in our hotel section here of most people who stay at Disney World don't know this, refillable mugs may not be as great a deal as you think if you're not getting the dining plan. Now, of course, the dining plan doesn't exist right now. And in case you don't know what refillable mugs are, I mean, obviously they're refillable mugs, but you can buy a mug in your Disney World Resort hotel that you can refill throughout your stay. These cost $20, and there are certain places you can refill them. Now, when the Disney dining plan existed, you would automatically get a refillable mug with your dining plan. But right now you can still buy refillable mugs, but it's an open question whether they're worth it. So how do you figure it out? Well, think about how many times you're going to want to refill that mug per day. You can refill it with things like coffee and tea and soda pop. So if you're going to refill it multiple times a day, great. But note that there aren't that many places to refill these mugs that are within a decent walking distance from most hotel rooms. And that's especially true at moderates and values. So if you're going to pass by a refill station before the park each morning and don't mind carrying your mug around all day, that's great. But really think through if that purchase makes sense, since it's going to cost nearly $100 for a typical family to buy refillable mugs. So think about if you're really going to use it or not. When it doesn't come free with your dining plan, it becomes much more of a question of value. All right, now we've got some restaurant and dining tips, things that most people who stay at Disney World don't know, and I certainly would want to know if I was staying at Disney World. The mobile walk-up waitlist could help you score a last-minute spot at a restaurant you want to eat at. This is brand new. Basically, what it means is Disney's now letting you know what restaurants are available right now to walk up to. And that's on the My Disney Experience app. So you head over to My Disney Experience app, you say reserve dining, and you just look for the little box that says now, and it'll tell you what's available right this minute. That's super, super helpful. Also, table service dining to go is a new option in My Disney Experience. It's the first time Disney's offered officially to-go options from table service restaurants, so that's definitely something to check out as well as a dining alternative. Another quick tip for dining at places when you can't get reservations. If you want to go to a Disney Springs location and you can't get a reservation through Disney, then check OpenTable. OpenTable is an online service that you can book reservations through, and it's a national service, and there are often several Disney Springs restaurants on OpenTable, and they may have a reservation available even if the Disney system doesn't. Last tip on getting a meal if you don't have a reservation: if you want to eat at a fancier restaurant, consider walking up and asking if there's a seat at the bar or in the lounge. This is a great tip for a high-end dinner if you don't have a reservation, but it's still going to cost you the same. So if sitting at the bar or in a lounge is less pleasing to you, it might make sense to save that restaurant for when you can actually sit at a table to get your money's worth. But if you don't care and you just want to try it, then the lounge or a bar is a great last-minute opportunity to dine at some of Disney's more signature restaurants. Okay, a few more restaurant tips. Kids' meals aren't just for kids. Anyone can order them, and they can be quite satisfying if you aren't super hungry and typically eat slightly smaller portions. But a couple things to note here. This can be done anytime at counter service locations. Nobody's going to check and make sure that you're ordering a kid's meal for a child at a counter service location. You can order anytime. But if you try to order them at a table service location, they may make you pay a higher price for a larger portion of the kid's meal food. So definitely ask your server if you are at a sit-down restaurant about the kids' meal and say, if I want to order a kids' menu item, do I get the amount of the kids' meal, or do I just have to pay more and you'll give me more of the chicken nuggets or whatever? All right, this next one's really important for a lot of our viewers. Disney just launched a huge plant-based menu initiative. So if you're eating vegetarian, every single menu in Disney World right now should have at least one plant-based item on it. That includes counter service, kiosks, and table service. So look for the little leaf icon on the menus. That means that it is plant-based. And finally, in our dining section, very important piece of information for a lot of you out there, I know myself included. There is a McDonald's on property. Lots of people don't realize that there is a McDonald's on property, but there is. It's over by the All-Star Resorts in Coronado Springs. So you'll probably have to drive over there or get a ride share. There aren't any buses that go to McDonald's. But if you need McDonald's, or if it's late at night and you just got on property and you need to eat something, that'll be there for you. Okay, a few other tips. Most people who stay at Disney don't know these things, but We want you to know them so that you aren't going in unaware. Mobile merchandise checkout. This is a thing that's brand new. What it basically means is while you are shopping in participating Disney merchandise locations like Mouse Gear and Epcot and a few others, there's a mobile merchandise option where you can scan the things you want to buy. You can buy them on the My Disney Experience app, and then you get a little QR code to show as you're leaving to show that you paid for your items. So you don't have to wait in any lines. It's a completely touchless and cueless system for purchasing merchandise in the parks. So look into that, check that out on your My Disney Experience app. Also on the My Disney Experience app, turn those notifications on because we've sometimes gotten notifications about rides being down, extra time the parks will be open, like the day of. We've had pop-ups in Magic Kingdom that say, hey, the park's going to be open an extra 30 minutes tonight and you can ride these rides. So that's bonus park time you wouldn't know about if your notifications weren't on, and other things. So this is super useful for those last minute items that Disney's trying to kind of push out and let people know about, or even testing. And speaking of getting extra ride time, park times are changing a lot right now. Park hours, park pass availability. So you'll want to check both frequently. Even after you've made your plans, booked your tickets, made your trip, and you're in Disney World, be sure to check the park hours on My Disney Experience every day because those can change. By the way, sometimes the parks open earlier than they say they're going to open, and you can actually ride rides before the official park opening time. This is nothing official. Disney isn't going to say that they do this, but they do. So consider getting to your park of the day 30 to 40 minutes before the official park opening time, and you may be able to get in and you get a few rides ridden before the day even starts. Now, let's talk about park hopping. Park hopping is a little different than it's been before. It starts at 2 p.m., so you can't hop to a new park until 2 p.m. or later. Now, you can add a park hopper onto your ticket at any time, but you generally can't remove it. So we always recommend that you go to Disney World and then decide if you need a park hopper when you are in your first park. If you do want it, then add it on. If you don't want it, don't pay the cost. The cost does not change if you wait to add it once you're already in a park. But if you do add park hopping on, it'll be for all the days of your ticket, which means if you don't add it on till the very last day, you'll still have to pay for all the days before that you were in parks. So best to decide on the first day you get there so you can use it for the rest of your trip. And finally, the last tip I want you to know about is that you really need to bring an external charger these days. Disney's switching everything onto your phone. Your smartphone is your key right now, sometimes literally. So bringing an external charger, I suggest bringing one with 2 USB ports so that you can charge 2 devices at once. Like if you're at dinner, you need to charge your phone and your kid's iPad at the same time. I always bring along a big old brick external charger with me every day, and it always use it. Now, of course, I'm using my phone to do things for work all day long, but people are using their phones more and more often, and I'm hearing from a lot of you that your phones are dying midday because you just don't have the charge. So bring along those cables, bring along the external charger. It's necessary these days. Whew. All right. It's a long video, but I just couldn't stop adding more stuff to this because there are tons of tips that we have learned the hard way that a lot of people don't know are actually the way things are at Disney World. Anyway, wanted to fill you in, wanted to make sure you knew about this stuff before you can go. Hopefully it can save you some money, save you some time, and help with your planning. So thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. We really appreciate you being a part of this channel and sharing your tips and tricks in the comments as well. As always, this is AJ for Disney Food Blog, and we'll see you real soon.